Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Ortega, and this is Voice Overs Más, a podcast for new and upcoming voice artists who want to learn from those who have already established themselves as industry experts. Today, I have the great honor to introduce you to one of the top English voiceover coaches in the U.S. Her name is Julie Williams, and for the past 40 years, besides being an amazing voiceover coach, she has also done thousands of e-learning narrations and has worked for companies such as Orbitz, HGTV, Coca-Cola, Pampers, Disney World, and many more. She has also voiced almost 20 audiobooks, and she got nominated for an Audie for her very first one. Julie, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be invited to be on this podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really an honor for me to have you here. So thank you so much for giving us some of your time and also for sharing some of the experiences that you've had during these 4 decades that you've been doing voiceover work. That's so impressive, by the way.
You know, I think it's our responsibility. I mean, there's a whole new generation coming up. I mean, I don't know when I got old, but now I'm like one of the old timers, and the new timers, if you want to call it that, they need to benefit from my experience, because how sad is it if the only thing we can benefit from is our own experience?
Absolutely. I agree with you.
If I can pass along, whatever I can pass along to help the new generation, I'm all there.
And I'm so happy that you're willing to share that information because, of course, we need to learn from those who have already done this work before. So speaking about experience in the last 40 years, tell us, what do you think are the advantages for people that are starting in the voiceover world nowadays?
Well, the advantage is it's easier to get started, first of all, because we have the internet and pretty much anybody can create a studio for $500 or less if they already have their computer. And that would be a fairly decent studio. I mean, if you want to go up to 1,000 or 1,500, it'll be an even better studio. Mm-hmm. And with being able to submit things online, you can audition with agents from anywhere, and you can audition online with clients from anywhere, and then you can work for anybody anywhere. When I got started, the agent would call, and we would go down to a studio and audition in person. So it took a lot of time. I mean, 20, 30 minutes to get to the studio, then you wait for your turn. I mean, it could have taken an hour and a half just to do the audition. And here, it's like 5 minutes, bam, bam, and you're done. You sent it out, and you can get so many more auditions done.
Absolutely. And all in your pajamas, right?
All in your pajamas, or in my case, since I'm in Florida and in California, I had a swimming pool too, in my bathing suit.
Oh, lucky you. That's amazing. Julie, tell us about the other side, the negative side of doing voiceovers nowadays. What are some of the challenges that we have?
Well, I think because there are so many people in voiceover and so many great talents, the biggest challenge I think today is that being a great talent is not enough. You have to be a unique talent as well as a great talent. You've got to bring your own personality to your performance, or you're just going to sound like, okay, maybe 30 or 20% of the people out there are great talents. Okay, so it's not like it's full of great talents, but that number is a huge number of people. And then you get into that 20%, maybe they can narrow it down to 10%, but once you get up there in the 10% range of making the cut, of them whittling down who do they want, it's going to come down to who has that sound that they had in their head when they wrote the script, or who has that unique personality that they're thinking, wow, I never thought about doing it that way, but it is a unique type read that really resonates with them. It comes down to you being you. So for you to win the auditions, you have to be unique. You can't just sound like everybody else. You need to take risks.
Of course.
And you may not get the job, but if you sound like everybody else, you're not going to get the job anyway.
Of course, but it's hard, though, to feel like you're ready to take risks, especially when you're recently starting in the voiceover world. You feel like you need to blend in with what's being done, and bringing out that uniqueness is very difficult. So what would you say would be good exercises or ways in which you could find your own uniqueness?
Well, you need to have a good coach to help you. First of all, you're never going to become a great talent if you don't have a good coach. Okay?
Absolutely.
And there's a whole, I could speak for 20 minutes straight on how to find a good coach. Your coach needs to not only make you a great talent by giving you the fundamentals, and I teach about 40 different fundamental techniques about how to give a great performance. And once you get there, then there are what I call golden tools that I bring out in my talent. And there's several of them. These are unique techniques that may or may not be right for you. And what I do is I'll present a few of them and explain them and have the student try. And if it works for them, great. But in addition to that, as we go along and they become more competent and become a great talent, and even before you could call them a great talent, these personality golden tools, these things that are unique to them, they start to emerge. Mm-hmm. And so I always make a note of what the golden tools are based on what I've presented and based on what has emerged, and make sure that I have those on the voiceover demos for starters. And I encourage them every time we're doing a read, hey, you need to put that laugh in there. Hey, you need to roll your eyes with your mouth there. Hey, you need to do this raspy thing there. You need to do da-da-da-da-da there, whatever it is. Just try that. Get used to putting those things, the golden tools, into every read you do. That's how you stand out.
Okay. And are these golden rules applied as well for Spanish talent?
Oh, yeah, but it's not golden rules. It's golden tools.
Golden tools. Sorry.
Yeah, techniques that make you unique. And in the Spanish market, again, there's a lot of great talent, so being great is not enough. So, yeah, the golden tools will apply in any language because they're what make you unique. Mm-hmm. And let's say one of your tools is that you can become raspy on cue. Okay, Terry Apple made a fortune doing that, but she didn't have to. It was a choice. Now, I don't do the raspy thing, but when I find a student that can, I make sure that it's on the demo, and I say that you do an audition, maybe you should, first they might ask for raspy, then you do it. But if they don't, one thing you might want to do is slate the audition, which I typically don't do. But you can slate it like this. Hi, this is Julie. Couple of ways we can go with this. Here's take one, kind of a raspy sound. And then you do that spot, and then you say take two, and you do the regular.
I never thought that you could do that with auditions.
You can do anything you want with auditions. The worst thing they can do is not hire you.
Well, I thought that you had to kind of abide by the rules. And if they said, just slate your name at the beginning of the audition, if you did more than that you might be risking being disqualified automatically.
Well, yeah. I mean, any risk you take, you can be disqualified. If they get specific, just slate your name or slate your name and your agency, then do that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there are some clients I have that say, don't slate at all. And then there are others that say, get right into your read and slate at the end. And that's for good reason. Because, if they're going to listen for normally more like 7 to 10 seconds before they eliminate you, or keep listening because they like you, but they could eliminate you. You don't want to spend 5 of those 7 seconds saying, hi, this is Julie Williams. Thanks for listening to my audition. Why waste the time doing that?
Of course.
The only time I ever slate at the beginning, unless I'm instructed to, is, and typically they don't give slate instructions, but the only time I will do it is if I'm going to give a second take like that. To let them know to listen through. In case they don't like that unique first one, I'll give them a more generic second one.
Gotcha. And do you usually just do 2 takes of one audition, or you go for 3?
I usually do 1 take of one audition.
Interesting.
But if there's a unique sound that I think I would put to it, then I'll do a second take. Sometimes people ask for 2 or 3 takes, and if they ask for it, then I might do it. But for the most part, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the job the way Julie would do it, which will include some golden tools. And then maybe if it didn't feel 100% right, I'll do it a different way. Or if they asked for something different, I'll do it a different way. But for the most part, I go in and do the audition. I do it like Julie would do it. And if they don't like the way Julie would do it, they don't have to hire me.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
The best job I'm going to do is when I sound like Julie.
Exactly. When you bring in that uniqueness.
Exactly.
Okay, so besides learning how to do auditions, besides having the right equipment, being preparing ourselves with a coach, what are other tools that you think newcomers absolutely need to focus on at the beginning of their careers?
Well, a marketing strategy. It's a numbers game only to the point, I should say it's not a numbers game unless you work the numbers. Okay, so getting a generic postcard that has your logo on it and says, hi, I'd love to work for you, and sending it out to 2,000 contacts because you bought a list, that's going to do nothing. I mean, it's a big number, but it's not a numbers game in that way. What I teach, I just did a webinar last week, and what I teach is take maybe 20 targeted people and develop a strategy and continue to market to those people so that they can get to know you, but don't ever market to more than you can follow up with. And then as you get your marketing strategy together, and your coach should be able to help you with that, as you get your marketing strategy together, then you'll know what to do with your demo, with your website that you're going to put together, with any swag that you might get, with the agents. You can do a strategy for marketing yourself to agents. I mean, as a beginner, I would suggest that as well, maybe 10 agents and 10 clients.
So when you're marketing to agents, should you focus on agents in your own region, or should you go nationwide or even globally?
Well, if you want to be a local talent, focus on local agents. Local talents don't make a living, and they typically make a lot less money. They're doing local commercials, whatever, $100 a pop, whatever it is. So if you have a local agent, then I would say, definitely go to that one agent, but go nationally as well. There are a lot of agents that will represent out-of-town talent in these days, except for in New York or LA. They get kind of snobby about it, and sometimes San Francisco does. But most cities, like in Chicago and Denver and other cities, they are willing to represent talent that don't live in the area because they know they want to get the best talent, not just the local talent. See, local talent, just like people are like, where's the coach in my area? I'm like, why would you settle for a coach just because they happen to live in your area when you can work online with the best coaches in the world? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with agents that, like, why would they settle for just the talent who happen to live locally? There might not be even one great talent in your city. I'm in Pensacola here. There's only 2 of us that are actually working full time as voiceover talents, Robin Rowan and me.
Yeah, very little competition.
So we're the only 2, lots and lots of people doing local stuff, making piddly money, but they can't make a living at it. So agents, it's to their advantage to look outside their market. Although in LA, there are so many great local talent that they don't need to bother going elsewhere. And the same thing is in New York.
Absolutely. Now, do you think that in order to reach out to agents or agencies across the country, do you need to be part of the union?
No, not at all.
So,
no, union, first of all, as a beginner, you're not going to get into the union because in order to qualify for the union, you're going to have had a union gig and pay $3,000 or so dues. So you can't even get into the union until you've been hired for a union gig.
I know, it's kind of contradictive. It's paradoxical how that works.
Yeah, it used to be you could get into AFTRA, I think, just by paying the dues. But now AFTRA and SAG have merged, and SAG has always had the requirement that you've done one SAG job. I don't know what the dues was, but you had to have done one SAG job to get in. But, there are a lot of... I'm making a living and I'm non-union.
Oh, wow. Have you always been non-union all these 40 years?
I have always been non-union all these 40 years. At the beginning, I was an agent recommended I be non-union when I was living in Houston because it's a right-to-work state, so I could do union work, and it's a very conservative state, so there are some people that have non-union work that pay union rates, but they won't hire a union talent because they don't believe in unions. So that was in Texas. So I was there for 20 years, and so I didn't join the union. And then when I got to California, I have so many non-union clients, I can't afford to go union and give up all my clients.
Gotcha. So basically, when you become part of the union, you have to report to them absolutely everything that you're doing that's outside of the union, or how does it work?
No, you're not supposed to do anything that's outside the union.
Okay. And is there a way that you could do both, union and non-union?
Actually, there's something called FICOR. And it's called Financial Core. And if you're FICOR, you can join the union, go FICOR, and then you can do union and non-union work, but you don't get a vote in the union. Now, I'm not a union person, so I don't have all the details on that. That's pretty much all I know about that. But so there is that option. But I feel like if you're going to join a union, then you should be loyal to the union.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just you're being self-serving. Oh, here, I can do union work and non-union work. And, for a lot of people, you run your business the way you want to run it. I just choose not to do that.
Interesting. Okay, so we are going to wrap it up. It's been amazing. But lastly, Julie, if you'd like to give any of our Spanish talent or our talent in general that might be listening to this podcast, final advice on how to create a successful career in voiceover, what would that be?
Okay, so this is very, very basic. Have a product to sell, create your free sample, and sell it. The product to sell is your voiceover performance skills, not your voice itself, the performance skills. The free sample is your demo, and the selling it is online marketing. It's your agents. It's the people that you market yourself to, etc. It's basically getting out there and pounding the pavement to get work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that advice and for all of your advice today, Julie. Where can we find you?
Oh, you can email me at julie@voice-overs.com or check out my website at juliewilliamscoaches.com.
Perfect.
Coaches in English, by the way.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Julie. It's been a pleasure having you on board.
Thank you.
And to all of you listening, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you guys next week in Voice Overs Más.